Manufacturers Association, which he has been since 2017. Dave is a Rhode Island native and graduate of the University of Rhode Island, and previously owned and operated the 65 employee Swiss Line precision manufacturer here in Cumberland for 31 years. I'm gonna say here in Cumberland because that's where I'm located right now. I work in Woonsocket, but I live in Rhode Island. I feel like the sun is too strong in the corner there. I might have to close that blind. So, but again, thank you very much for your participation, and I will turn the program to Dave.
Thank you, Ann. We have with us today 5 companies that are RIMA members and are a diverse group of which they, it's interesting that most people have no clue what is made and manufactured in Rhode Island. And I think the cross-section of these individuals will show people kind of an interesting aspect of what is made. So the first company we're going to introduce is a company called Mearthane Products Corporation, located out in Cranston, managed by Peter Kazmarek, who's a strong supporter of RIMA. They are a global technology leader in development and manufacture of advanced polyurethane components. And these products are sent all over the United States and all over the world. So I'm going to turn it over to Peter. Peter, it's your show, and welcome.
Hi, thanks, Dave. We're glad to be here, and indeed, Mearthane is a really strong supporter of RIMA. Before I jump in to talk to you a little bit about what we do, I did want to make notice to Dave and to all the RIMA members that we've really appreciated the way that RIMA and Polaris and the Department of Health and the Department of Labor and Training here in the state have worked so hard to keep manufacturing going all through the pandemic. We're one of the few states that is able to keep really all of our manufacturing going, and with really strong commitment to employee health and safety. And we couldn't have done that without the tight-knit community that RIMA has created. So really want to thank you, Dave, for that. I'm here at, as Dave said, Mearthane Products is headquartered in Cranston, Rhode Island since 1965. But I'm actually talking to you today from Woonsocket. This is the latest member of the Mearthane family, a company that was called Polyurethane Molding Industries here in Woonsocket. We purchased in February of this year. If you remember, February was right about the time that the pandemic really broke loose here. You would say that's maybe not a great time to make an acquisition. But in this case, the products and capabilities that we have here in our Woonsocket facility has become really necessary during this time. So I'll explain a little bit more to you about that. I'm here with Alejandro Martinez. He's our Director of Sales and Marketing. And after I tell you a little bit about what we do in our Woonsocket facility, Alejandro is going to tell you a little bit more about what we do in our main facility in Cranston. So the Woonsocket facility, as I said, was used to be called Polyurethane Molding Industries. It's a company that was founded in 1979 by the husband and wife team of William and Sue Ober. And we purchased the business from them in February. There's about 25 employees here in this facility. And we make a very unique form of polyurethane component based on a technology called reaction injection molding. And most people think of polyurethane, and you'll see when Alejandro talks about Cranston, as kind of a rubbery material, an alternative to rubber. But it's a very diverse chemistry, and it allows you to do some things that don't seem rubber-like at all, but have other uses. In this case, here in Woonsocket, we use polyurethane through this process of reaction injection molding to make very tough and rigid parts that are very impact resistant, that are used to enclose medical devices and lab analytical devices and other machines, very sensitive machines that are used for things like cell testing and vaccine testing and things that are really important right now. So this business has actually been doing quite well during the pandemic. Demand from our customers has gone up quite a bit. And basically, what we do is we work with companies like the large medical device companies to design cases and enclosures and components to house their devices that are very tough, very resistant to any sort of chemicals and any other environmental issues, but also very aesthetically pleasing. So we have a full painting capability here as well. Once we mold the parts, we're able to paint them in any means that the customer wants, including, in this particular case, copper paint that makes it electrically conductive, or EMI shielding for some of the applications that our customers want. Benefit of RIM is you can get a very large part that's also very lightweight and very complex, so that it can have many different openings and thickness variations, places to put screws and other things for assembly. And we've discovered that it's very, very useful for applications where the customer needs a very tough, very attractive, long-lasting enclosure. So our 25 employees here are quite busy. We've kept them all healthy and safe, and we're looking forward to continuing to grow Mearthane with our Woonsocket facility. So let me turn it over to Alejandro to talk a little bit about our Cranston facility.
Thanks, Pete. So to complement Pete's story, in our facility in Cranston, which is the largest manufacturing facility that we have company-wide, we focus around a technology to cast urethanes. So we use thermoset polyurethanes through a molding process that is oftentimes described as casting, which is basically pouring the material under the force of gravity into a mold cavity. And the beautiful thing about that process is you can do a number of different things with it. We have two main business divisions within our cast manufacturing process. The first one is for recreational urethane wheels, and you see right here in front of me some examples of these products. We actually have a line of recreational wheels that are used for inline skating, in speed skating and hockey. So these are professional and semi-professional disciplines of skating. Think some of the Olympic speed skating events on ice, but on wheels instead. So these are professional athletes that are going 30, 40 miles an hour on these wheels. And MPC wheels have performed as the best wheels in the world for the last several years. On top of that, we have a line to manufacture skateboard wheels as well as roller skate wheels, always focused on the premium levels of the market, high performance, high durability, really aiming to folks that want to get the best out of their wheels. And we leverage, as Pete mentioned, we leveraged our expertise on the chemistry of urethanes to really develop these products. So what you can see here in my hand, this is actually kind of the bread and butter of the wheel line, is a three-part construction to these wheels where you have a thermoplastic molded hub. We actually started injection molding these in Cranston earlier this year. We were bringing our hubs in from a wide variety of vendors, so that was a nice transition for us this year. But then we have two different urethane technologies inside, and you may see actually maybe some of the other wheels better. The wheels actually kind of glow a little bit red, and the reason for that is because we have two materials, one that's a little bit softer, has a higher rebound, and it is covered with a tougher, more abrasion resistant urethane on the outside to make contact with the road or the track. And it really, this kind of three material, three layer composition makes the product really perform its best. And it's actually not very different from what we do on the industrial side. And I'll tell you a little bit about this product. This is an industrial product that we make. It goes in ATM machines, and its role is to move currency into the machine. So if you're depositing checks or bills or a combination of those into an ATM machine, the machine needs to grab it from you. And it needs to grab it with enough force to be able to feed the media correctly, but not rip it out of your hands or not rip the media itself. And it needs to avoid any issues with electricity or static that may build up in the mechanism. And so we worked with one of the largest manufacturers of ATMs in the world, who's a customer of ours, because they were using two different subcomponents in two different parts of the machine, one to move the media and one to transfer motion. And they were having a lot of quality issues with these. And we supported them with our engineering services in developing this part, which, similar to our wheels, has a multi-layer construction. So it's actually the same, very similar know-how that brings us the fastest speed skating wheels in the world, brings us some of the best performing ATMs in the world. And what we have here is a first layer of a solid, very durable urethane in a gear pattern. I know it's very hard for you to see from way over there, but it's got a tooth profile to transfer motion. It's got a foam layer to make contact with the media and move it through the mechanism. And in the middle, there's a reinforcement layer to prevent stretch. And we manufacture these in Cranston, ship them to India and China, respectively, where our global OEM customers located. So similar to this product, we manufacture a number of industrial products, be they be big or small, like this little belt or a big roller like this that might go in a commercial high printing press that you might use to actually print books or magazines on. You know, we can leverage the know-how that we have around thermoset urethanes to manufacture a very wide range of products. So perhaps that might be our time. So I don't know if folks have any questions or if there's
You guys did great. You were up there for 10 minutes and you did it under 9. Very good. I'm impressed.
Thank you, Dave.
And Dave, we
Set
did
the tone for everybody else. We'll try to take some questions at the end if anybody has them.
Sounds
Next
good.
up is R&R Machine. R&R Machine was fun. I saw your mother walk by, Renee. I don't see her now, but
Yes, she is.
by
She's
Roland
right
and
here.
Elizabeth, and there she is. And I have dealt with them on various occasions on different issues that have arisen, and they are a family-run operation. They are a precision machine shop, CNC machines, and they are what we would call a contract manufacturer, in as much that they may not have a particular product line, but they manufacture a lot of various component parts for a lot of different industries. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and let's talk about R&R.
All right, thank you, Dave. Thank you for inviting us today. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to show you a little bit of what we do. Basically, we're a contract machine shop, like David says. We make various components. We do a lot of work with castings, different castings, customer supplied castings. Just to show you, you know, basically we got a big valve here that we do. This is one of our smaller valves for the fire extinguishers industry. There's another component, we do a casting that we do for a company. This is a water valve for different types. What the actual product does, we're not up to that. They give us a blueprint and we make it. We do a lot of parts. This is also a part that goes into a particular valve, what's called an inlet fitting. We do outlet fittings. It's hard. I mean, basically, you get a blueprint, if it's round or a casting or square, and it can be made in a CNC piece of equipment, that's what we do. We're not as technical as those other gentlemen. I can't give you all that information because we don't get all that information. we get a blueprint. We make parts from the beginning to the end. We sub out welding, painting. We take a product and they just write one purchase order. They want a finished component. That's what we do. If it requires painting, welding, heat treating, all these things, we got very good suppliers that we work with. At one time, R&R was a much bigger company. We did a lot of that in-house, but over the years, we've shrunk it down to where it was a lot more manageable. And basically the same reason everybody else has. Good quality people are very hard to find. And so now we're very manageable. It works out well for us. And in normal times, we're very busy, and these times we're not really very busy.
Roland, I know when I've toured your facility, you had what we would call CNC turning centers and CNC milling. Why don't you give us an idea of what the capacity is on your turning centers and what your capacity relative to fixturing on your milling machines?
Well, we have the machines, basically our largest machine, we can do 50 inches on the milling center, which is a very heavy duty machine. And then most of our tables are 14 by 50. We have 8 machining centers. We have 8 turning centers. The turning centers, we can do 50 inches between centers, and we can do up to a 20-inch diameter. We have smaller machines also that we do smaller components, like this particular component, which I can show you. It's hard to see here with this light.
Oh, that's good. I can see it.
We do, this is an assembly for a wire, for the wire industry, where it's a feeder. We can screw that in, and they're very, very close tolerances for feeding wire, for spooling wire. This is a cap for one of the castings that we make. And we also have the capability of live tooling in our newest turning center, which has about a 14-inch capacity. And we can do turning, milling, all. Another in this particular casting, we machine a portion of it, then we grab it, we take it out, we finish the second side. We do all the drilling, and the part comes out, the casting comes out completely finished. So that's our newest piece of equipment. So
the operation that R&R has, and walking through it, to shed some light, they are a clean floor operation, nice and bright. Walk through it, and they exemplify what a modern machine shop looks like today. I know you have a full quality department, correct, Roland? Renee?
Yes, we do. We have a full quality control department. Every component goes into inspection on the first piece, and then there's an in-process inspection. Every so many pieces, the inspector goes out there and checks the parts, or they bring them in. If we require, every 10th piece has to come in for certification, so on, so forth. We're in the process right now with Polaris. We're going to become ISO 901.
Fantastic.
Pardon me?
I said that's fantastic. I'm glad for you. That's great.
Yeah, and hopefully that's going to open a door for us to more business. We can always use more business, especially in these times. And so that's it. Basically, pretty much it. We're fully integrated CNC. All our programs are fed through computers, and we keep all the records so we can repeat, so we can do the jobs over again without all that additional cost for programming and so on and so forth.
As Roland noted earlier, he is what we call a contract manufacturer, and my company was also a contract manufacturer, and he made a point, and I agree with him. There was items that we made, and I had no clue where they went. I mean, you got a blueprint in, you're looking at dimensions, you figure out how you're going to make it, and people come up to you and say, hey, Dave, what is that? I don't know. And it's the same thing with you guys. So all contract manufacturers are pretty much the same way. But I think there's one thing we ought to be saying, congratulations to you guys. And it's the fact that you are celebrating 40 years in business. Am I correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
40 years.
In August.
myself and Betty, we started in the basement of our home.
There you go. There's a story to itself.
And then from there, in the backyard, I built a big gambrel building. I went in there, I was in there for 2 years. And then from there, I moved into the Tupperware building. I was there for, I don't know,
23, 25 years?
25 years there. And then we bought a building up here in Industrial Drive in North Smithfield. And that's where we are presently. And it's an extremely, like Dave says, extremely clean operation. We're adamant about keeping things clean because we think a clean shop puts out a clean product. And that's how we like to be. And so we're hoping that we can get another 40 years. And because I got my, well, I don't know if Renee's going to make it that long, but hopefully things can continue to go well. It's after the election, I hope things come back to normal. Right now, they're not normal, but we're okay. We're hanging on, and we're doing the best we can with the people we have. So,
Well, you guys have done a great job.
Don't forget us.
And, I know that you are a prime example of what a good family business is all about. So congratulations on your 40 years, and you did a good job. You're under the time slot. I'm impressed again. That's 2 in a row.
Yeah.
The pressure's on to everybody else. I'm telling you right now.
I'd like to thank you, Dave, personally. I mean, I want to thank RIMA, but you personally for your help since we've met you and we've been working with you. You've helped us tremendously. You've given me some very good advice, and that advice should help us to move forward. So as a family, we thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, next one up, Taylor Box. And Taylor Box is a third-generation family-owned operation. They are located in Warren, Rhode Island. They create craft boxes and they make them for so many different industries. And I'm going to ask Markin to explain a little bit more about it better than I can, and we'll take it from there. Markin?
Yes. Hi. So before I go into my spiel, I do want to play a quick video. I love this video because I'm a history buff, but also because it gives a great idea. We've been in business for 135 years, and my father is the 3rd generation. I'm the 4th generation. And we've literally been in Rhode Island for 135 years. So, Ann, could you help me play that video?
Taylor Box and Card Company was founded on West Exchange Street in Providence, Rhode Island by Clarence Taylor in 1885. It was one of many small packaging manufacturers that sprung up in support of Rhode Island's burgeoning product manufacturing sector. We produced boxes for Brown & Sharp, Ashaway Line & Twine, and local department stores. And in those early days, we delivered them in a horse-drawn wagon. In 1922, Brooklyn native Howard Starkey Scholes purchased the company after marrying a young woman from Edgewood, Helen Scattergood, whose family owned the Scattergood Furniture Store on North Main Street in Providence. The company moved to Eagle Street in Providence in the 1930s, where they added customers U.S. Rubber, Gorham, and Federal Products. In 1945, after returning from the war, my father, Martin Brookshed, married Mr. Scholes' daughter, Markin, and joined the company. They continued to operate from Eagle Street until 1953. As the textile industry abandoned New England for cheaper Southern labor, mills across the region became empty and available. One of those was a small silk weaver on Child Street in Warren, the Bates Silk Mill. The company purchased the mill, which is where we are today. In 1966, my grandfather retired, and my father took the reins of the company. After graduating from URI with an economics degree in 1974, I came to work for the company, followed by my brother Dave, who graduated from Johnson College with a fine arts degree in 1976. We learned quickly that unlike our father's era, rapid change was going to be the rule and not the exception. Here's a job card for a Brown & Sharp box that we ran right up until 1986. Note that the card was made up in 1929. A package design lasts only about 18 months, not 60 years. So we would need to stay on top of market changes and discover how to be continuously relevant or risk perishing. Many competitors did perish. In this photograph taken in 1975, There are 12 of the region's 42 box makers represented. Today, only 2 remain. My father's the fellow at left wearing a tie and sneakers. The 42 New England box makers in 1975 are now only 8. We frequently provide tours to students, business groups, and others that are curious about what we do and how we do it. So here's a quick tour of our facility with some shots of our team hard at work making amazing packaging for some of the world's most demanding brands. We are unique in that we routinely produce as few as 1 luxury box and as many as 500,000 or more. We are very blessed at Taylor Box Company to have a really great team. From our front office to our design and engineering studio, to our production floor, every individual on our team works to define our company as the nation's leading design manufacturer of custom paperboard packaging. As a result of their efforts, our company has a well-earned reputation as a leader in our field. We love boxes. This is the team that defines us every day.
I really love the epic music in the background of this video, and especially thanks for the clapping. So that video is really, it's a big part of our Wizard of Oz marketing campaign that we have going to sort of, don't look at the man behind the curtain, because it's a small family business. So we are a rigid paperboard packaging manufacturer, and we make all of the custom rigid setup boxes behind us. And rigid setup is a very small niche within the paperboard packaging universe. The vast majority of packaging that I'm sure you all interact with are corrugated cartons, Amazon shipping boxes, those type of things, and then folding cartons, which are primarily SBS, and that's the box that your toothpaste comes in. So we produce, within the world, the centibillion-dollar world of paperboard packaging. We're just in this tiny little sliver, which is high-end premium turned edge packaging. So we are a job shop. We do make everything custom. And so, within that, and as the video explained, we will frequently make a very short run. This week we did, 8 pieces for a fine artist. And then we're also working on, 25,000 pieces for a pharmaceutical company. So we are a pretty unique manufacturer, at least in our field, even within the sort of unique world of what we do, because we also work in wood. We have a wrapped finished ed wood division, and we have a large number of high volume Mechatronic Italian machines that are sort of the cutting edge in this world. But what's so interesting about listening to everyone else tell their stories is within paperboard packaging, the base and lift off cover box, if you think about when you think of, what does that mean? It's a Tiffany box, and a Tiffany box hasn't changed, in 100 years. That's still sort of the standard for high-end sort of gift retail. Or, I'm sure many of you have an iPhone in your pocket and you have an iPhone box, and that's sort of, I think, redefined how people think about packaging, because that moment where you opened that box and your phone came out and all of the information was there and it was already pre-charged, that sort of awakened a new generation to packaging design. And we're definitely seeing a new interest in these sort of, they call them, brand experiences, talking about the experience of opening a box. But it's so interesting to listen to everybody talk about this high precision work, because in our industry, the tolerance for artwork placements that you see on any of these boxes, where your logo is placed is plus or minus a 16th, so that's just, absolutely sloppy compared to a precision CNC milled piece. So it's just such a different, we're all making things, but it's so interesting to see, what the different standards and tolerances and sort of priorities are within each of them. So for us, it's definitely flexibility, being willing to make 1 or 1 million. You can see that there's a wide variety of scale, and then basically a humongous material and decorative arts sort of menu and world to work with.
Can you grab a couple of boxes and give us an up close on some, a couple of them?
Definitely. So this is a very sort of classic example. So this is a basin liftoff cover. So there's a tray inside of another tray, and this was actually for a financial company. It's wrapped in a beater dyed box wrap. So this paper is designed to be used for this application. It's uncoated. It's probably made out of primarily post-consumer, post-industrial material, and then it has this very large foil stamp. And so this is, sort of an example. I think this was for client gifts. So they put something like a expensive candle in there, and then when you signed up for their portfolio program, you got this. But it's really, if you think about it, it's just the same. It's a very simple construction. It's 2 5-sided trays. And then we do things that are, highly complicated, which is, this one's a good one. This was for the Chrysler Group. So this box, again, we have box wrap, we've got foil stamping, but this is an actual drum. So that was put into a die cut center in the middle, and it carried these drumsticks. And I don't actually know what it is, but it's very whimsical. So we do a lot of stuff like this, which is sort of for brands that are, again, doing storytelling. And then in terms of, one-offs, so Titleist, at the end of the PGA, if one of the people that one of their sponsors, the people that they sponsor wins, they get a special box that holds a plaque and a special signed golf ball. And it's in this very beautiful wrapped panel style box. And this, that's my timer. I've blown up my time. But this is a specialty box wrap. It's been embossed on the inside. You've got a gold foil stamp. It's got all these special panels in this frame. And this is something that is, I think they only made 3 pieces, and it was entirely made by hand. So we really do run the whole gamut here, at least within our niche of rigid setup packaging. And we just completed our ISO 9001 a year ago. We're still improving every day. It's definitely a journey. And we are, as the video said, always trying to be opportunistic in identifying where the market is pivoting towards so that we can be there, because we have all the capabilities. We have a great team. We have all the history in the world, but we need to make sure that we're remaining relevant to the market. That's sort of our challenge right now.
Great job, Mark, and you did a lot better job than your father would have. You can tell him I said that. Her father is on the RIMA board as well, and has been one of our factors in the growth of RIMA and how we can reach out to various manufacturers. So I really thank you, and I did wish you were going to show me the Crown Royal box. That's my favorite, but that's okay. So anyway, great job again, and give my best to your father.
I will.
Next up is, and you did a good job with the time, so that's you're good. You're not on the negative side. The next company that we want to introduce is Miniature Casting Corporation, also out of the Cranston area, and they are a great little company doing precision zinc die cast work, which is again different from what everyone has done so far that we've introduced. They are very much focused on conservation, environmental concerns. They won a 1991 award for national recognition on that aspect. And right now, Stephen Toljan is handling as president of the company. I'm going to turn it over to Stephen.
Thank you very much, Dave, and thank you for the introduction. Obviously, Mark, and this is a very tough act to follow. I've been to your facility because we had this manufacturing roundtable that got interrupted now through COVID, but your dad gave us the tour, and so I've seen hands-on the machinery you have, the equipment, and the kind of quality work you do. So like I said, it's tough, but I will try my best, the old-fashioned way of showing you a little PowerPoint introduction in what we do. As Dave mentioned earlier with R&R, we are also, I would consider ourselves also a contract manufacturer. because we get a blueprint, we make a part, but a lot of times people are not very familiar with what zinc die casting is and what kind of application it goes into. So we've been in business, or this company has been in business since 1962. Was originally founded by people from the jewelry industry, from local people and also from Canada. But they realized soon that once the jewelry industry started declining, that they needed to expand into industrial manufacturing. And miniature casting became the prime supplier for the inertia stop component for the Polaroid land camera at the time. And that was basically, that was the bread and butter. That was what the company did. My father-in-law, Bob Piacitelli, bought the company in 1980, and it's been in the family since then. And I work together with my wife, Angela, today. Her brothers have been in the business as well, but they chose their own path. So the two of us, we are the second generation, if you will. During that time, or when the company first started, Bob had pneumatic 4-slide machines that ran on cams. Over time, they got improved to PLC systems and computer-guided systems. And we also added larger hydraulic 2- and 4-slide equipment to give us more flexibility in terms of what size parts we produce. And in 1989, he decided to move from Sherburne Street in Providence off of Eddy Street, which wasn't the best of areas then either, to purchase land here in the Howard Industrial Park in Cranston. So we are surrounded by prisons, by Swarovski, by Pepsi, and by McLaughlin and Moran. So to make you familiar of where we are located. So we are, as Dave said, a manufacturer of precision zinc die castings, miniature parts in terms of die casting, because die casting goes into very, very large sizes. But we specialize in manageable, smaller parts. The parts are manageable, and also the tooling is manageable, as you will see in a second. So we provide the tool design, we get a print, we design the tool. We don't make the tool. We have domestic tool makers, one here in Rhode Island, one in Pennsylvania, and then we cast the parts depending on whatever the best platform is to do that. We also ISO 9001 certified. We got the latest release, the 2015 release, about 2 years ago. Almost 3 years ago, but we have been ISO 9001 since 1996. So Bob actually started very early on to be part of that. And it's basically a requirement, especially in the automotive industry, which is part of our business, as you will see. So what is die casting, or especially zinc die casting? A lot of times it's compared to plastic injection molding, which to a certain degree is valid to make that comparison, but not really, because zinc has very different properties from plastic. It's very fluid. The operating temperature of zinc is 800 degrees, and the metal gets injected in about 30 to 50 milliseconds into that steel die at about 1200 psi. So what we need is tooling. As I said, all our tools are US made. The average tool life is anywhere between 750,000 to 1 million shots, or for smaller tools, sometimes higher, depends on the tool design. What you see here is, and you will recognize the part later, I will show it to you. So there are the two die halves, and the core in the back, that core fits into those halves, and the metal gets injected through the gate that you see on top, and the two halves open, the part falls out. And what you can see at the bottom are water lines, because as you can imagine, these tools get very, very hot when you continuously inject 800-degree metal. So we'd have to get the heat back out of them in order to avoid that they overheat. Zinc is the only metal that we use. Die casting works with, typical die casting is aluminum, magnesium, or zinc. We only do zinc. It's a high strength material, very impact resistance, anti-sparking, which a lot of people don't know. That's why the handles at all the gas stations are made out of zinc, because it cannot create a spark. It's a clean metal, it's non-toxic. finishing opportunities or finishing possibilities are very, very widespread, even though a lot of platers, especially the jewelry platers, don't like it very much because it can screw up their tank sometimes, but it's very easy to plate. You need copper underneath, and then basically every other finish is possible. And the tool life of a zinc die caster is much longer than aluminum because aluminum is very aggressive on the steel and zinc is not. So that makes the tool life longer. And we use what's called ZAMAC alloys, which are zinc alloys that have a variety of aluminum, magnesium, and copper amounts in them. So that changes the hardness or changes some of the properties of the metal. But in principle, the majority of the metal is always zinc. So let me show you this little video that explains the casting process.
Hot chamber machines are used primarily for zinc, copper, magnesium, lead, and other low melting point alloys that do not readily attack and erode metal pots, cylinders, and plungers. The injection mechanism of a hot chamber machine is
Stephanie, you said there's a video? Because we're not seeing anything.
a metal holding furnace.
I did.
The furnace is attached to the machine by a metal.
Okay. You could not see that video I just heard.
No,
Okay, sorry for that. But you can see those pictures?
No,
no.
you need to share your screen.
Okay, I am sharing my screen. Hold on a second. Huh. There we are. Share.
There you go.
There we go. We got it.
Okay. Now I need to get back into, but did you see the first slides? Oh, you didn't?
No.
All right, but now you can see it. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going through all these slides and you couldn't even see them. Anyway, so if we continue here, obviously we make parts for a variety of different industries. For example, here, traditional hardware, where, for example, for craftsman tools, where we make the parts for the ratchet on top, or this, actually, if you go in, some of you may have this in your basement, if you have oil heat. We make these for Takeo, the covers for the valves, and we have for several years. And then they get not painted by us, but and that's also the tool I was showing. But now that I realized that you didn't see the tool, that was not really my plan. Also, automotive. We make a family of switch housings that end up with components on the outside, and then a key. So, for example, starters, etc., or push buttons. So in John Deere tractors or Volvo trucks or Caterpillar, you would find our parts that are made in Rhode Island and then go through other assembly companies, obviously, that then provide the finished product. And a variety of other automotive parts for different kinds of applications. We typically do not specialize in what's called cosmetic automotive parts, but more the ones under the hood that you don't see readily. The then electronics industry, obviously here you on the top, you see like banana plugs that get later overmolded and become connectors, or also on these cables, or we make a CMAX housing for Cat5 connections in data centers, and other electronic components, and also in certain consumer goods applications like buckles for this is part of a backpack for the Department of Defense, and then automation engineering, where we also do a sub-assembly. This is actually a company in Rhode Island that we supply with these parts. They supply us with their plastic components. Aside from casting, tapping, and plating the part, we also assemble it with the plastic component and then supply them with the fully assembled piece. Then here more of a summary of we have some medical device parts also that I don't have images, or I cannot actually show you because of confidentiality issues. We made a part for an insulin pump at one point, and we currently make 2 components for a blood testing device. And also we do make a buckle for Honeywell for one of their respirator masks. And that's also part of the reason why when COVID first started, we immediately transitioned as an essential supplier to the medical device industry, and never closed for a day. And we also, through the help of Dave's efforts with the governor and Polaris and everybody who was involved, that we could stay open during these times, which was very helpful. Here, another gallery of parts. There is such a big variety that it's always difficult to show. There are parts for window hardware, there are parts for locks, there are parts for sometimes applications that we don't know what they are for, similar to what we have heard before that happens in contract manufacturing. On the bottom left here, these are some of our very, very smallest parts for a model train coupling. It's actually a combination of 4 different individual teeny tiny parts where the challenge is not just to make it out of the casting machine, but the further processing, where it has happened that some operator has mistaken the part for scrap and just threw out the whole day's production because they thought, well, that cannot be a part, it's too small. So here is just a cross section of some of our customers. As you can see, there are some big names and we just happen to be at the bottom of the food chain because we supply like a part that goes into an assembly, into something else before it ends up in the finished product. But we are proud of what we do, and we are happy that we are successful in what we do, and that we continue being one of the die-cast companies in Rhode Island.
Stefan, thank you very much. I think it was very informative, and I think it's an industry that many people don't understand and what you really do. So it's kind of unique. All right, we're going to move on to the next company, and it's called Tribro, and obviously it's named after the 3 founding brothers. And they were started in 1947 and now on to their 73rd year in the jewelry industry. And as I noted earlier, Christine's father is a very close personal friend of mine, but I am glad that Christine's doing it because I think she knows more now than her father does. And so she's done a great job moving into the company, and I still believe you guys are still a major supplier to Alex and Ani. Am I not correct, Christine?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Christine, your show.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dave. And thanks to all of you for sharing. I learned a lot by watching all of your presentations. It's just so fascinating what's being made in Rhode Island. And I can't wait to tell my kids about the fastest wheels in the world being made right in Cranston. So that's really cool. So like Dave said, Tribro was founded by my grandfather when he came back from World War II. And the name of our company, Tribro Tool Company, is because we were a tool room. So my grandfather and his 2 brothers were making tools for the jewelry industry, and we were, right in the thick of it when Providence was the jewelry capital of the world. I have to give my father a lot of credit because I think that he and his brothers and sister, who were the 2nd generation, they drove this company through everything. I mean, when everything moved over to China, even after 9/11, which was right when I got out of college, this company kept surviving. And now here we are, when COVID hit, I think we had another one of those moments. Like, is this gonna be the thing that does us in? Like, are we gonna get through this? And so I want to also thank RIMA for everything you've done to support businesses like us, because we we were not an essential manufacturer, but we also never had to close for a day. And even though the month of April might have been the worst month of sales we ever had, we were able to, we never let our customers down. We were able to keep going. And now, fortunately, we're really busy and we're looking at, you know, a really strong fall. So thankfully, we never had to shut down and we were able to keep things going. And hopefully we're going to survive this too and just continue to evolve. So I think you can see some of the jewelry behind me. I have a little show and tell. So our niche in the costume jewelry industry was bangle bracelets, has always been these seamless items. So at some point in time, my grandfather discovered that, you know, we could make these beautiful seamless bracelets out of tubing, as opposed to back in the day, they used to have to like solder things together and they were, you know, inconsistent and kind of messy. So we were probably the world's biggest supplier of bangle bracelets, you know, at one point in time. If you went into the department stores, like when I was a kid, my dad would take me to the mall and it'd be like, oh, we make that, we make that, we make that. So you would never see Tribro's name anywhere, but we were supplying, you know, Monet and Avon and Swarovski, all those companies. And yeah, fortunately today we are, you know, we're working with Alex and Ani. That's been a huge, huge customer for us. And we're also working with Luca and Danny, which is another Cranston bred company, you know, another, you know, jewelry factory that's been around for a really long time, that the current generation has developed a really awesome brand. So I think, you know, I think for us, like I feel like we're kind of like a niche business. We have, you know, probably 300 different customers all around the world. Some are, you know, tiny jewelry designer crafters that buy some of our items and, you know, they might, you know, like, take like, you know, basic bracelet blanks like this and stamp on them and form them and sell them on Etsy. And, you know, they're helping pay the bill by doing that. And we have other, you know, large brands, you know, like the Alex and Anis of the world. So, you know, we like to say, you know, our business supports so many other businesses. We might have one customer that buys from us and, you know, sells to another 100 businesses. So I think that, you know, we're kind of the blank canvas that a lot of these designers get to have their inspiration with. And I guess the other thing I'd say about Tribro, you know, if you were to work in the walk out into the factory, it looks just like it probably did 30 years ago. There's, you know, foot presses everywhere. You know, it's just very like old school manufacturing, which I think is very cool. And I always love bringing jewelry designers in there. I feel like it's a place that they could never imagine up in their minds. And when they walk in, it just, you know, you just really feel that handmade element to everything we're doing. You know, the foot presses give us a lot of flexibility to change out tools and, you know, make all these different items that you see behind me. And, you know, again, we can do a run of 100 pieces, or we can do a run of 200,000 pieces, and we kind of have that flexibility to turn things over. So that's kind of the, you know, gist of Tribro. I hadn't really prepared anything formal, but
you're doing international, right? You go down to Brazil or South America, correct?
yeah, Peru actually. Yeah, not this year, but one of our biggest customers, actually it was people who worked for Monet. They set up a company down in Peru called Yanbal, and so they're kind of like an Avon for South America. So they actually are one of our biggest customers for bangle bracelets. And it's very much that, you know, direct to consumer sales. So I've, yeah, typically gone down there every year. They've got a beautiful factory that was modeled after Monet down in Lima.
And
But, of
you've
course,
expanded your internal operations by getting your first CNC machine, if I'm not mistaken.
we do, yes, we do have a CNC machine. So my father's brother, my uncle, is our tool maker, and so actually it is kind of cool. His daughter, my cousin Katie, works here too, and she's like training under her father to be our tool maker. So she went and took CNC classes to learn how to operate this new machine that we have. So we do have some tech in our factory.
And I thought you guys were going to compete with us because they bought a CNC Swiss machine. So, and I had 70 of them, and I'm trying to say, hey, what are you guys doing? But
Oh my
no,
God.
they're using that machine to manufacture some component parts for their customers. Again, what we just saw is a great family-run operation, and there's so many of that in Rhode Island. But Christine, you and your family have done a great job at Tribro. It's a great place to work. It's nice and clean. I know he's got to do some weeding out front, though. I went by the other day. Make sure you tell him
No.
to get some weeds pulled out of there. So,
Yeah.
anything else, Christine, you'd like to add?
I mean, not really. I mean, we're really proud to be keeping the heritage of making costume jewelry in Rhode Island going. And, there are still others in town doing it, but, it's not what it was, but we still have a nice presence here and we are so proud of it.
Great, great. It's nice to see the display behind you with all the different items. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thanks.
And we got our 5 companies covered, and we did it under the time frame. How was that?
Wonderful and so interesting. Thank you so much. It's always so exciting to hear about the wonderful things that are made in our little state. And I'm super, Dave, do we have time? Do you guys want to stay on for a few questions? Because I know I have a couple of questions. So
go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think, you guys probably all have like sales and marketing departments, right? I know you do a lot of specialized things, so you probably have a lot of people who seek you. But like, I'm wondering, like in the case of Markin, do you have sales, people out there throughout the world?
So we definitely find that our competitive edge is sharpest here. We have a regional advantage and we have a domestic, national advantage. We produce everything here at our 55,000 square feet facility in Warren. So we're not brokering any offshore. We're really truly making everything right here in Rhode Island. So in general, if somebody is willing to, pay the premium to have it made in the US, they are coming to us because they have a shorter lead time, or they do want the value add design because there are offshore producers of this sort of higher end packaging. So in that regard, we have representation, throughout the Northeast, and we regularly travel to Chicago, sort of Dallas, LA, obviously not now, what with COVID. So that's definitely been a challenge for us from a sales side. Particularly, we were so, again, echoing what everyone else said about the gratitude for RIMA really helping to not just communicate with local government, but also like herd the cats, like get us all together and really formulating and articulating our measures and making sure that they were great. We also didn't close for a single day, and we haven't, knock on wood, had a single case of COVID in our entire shop, which has been something that we really are very grateful for and continue to be vigilant about. But it was a real challenge with sales back in the spring because, this epidemic and pandemic has impacted regions in sort of, it's been like, it's been a little bit of a domino effect. And so we've had to really hone our messaging with our marketing and be really specific, because as one area of the country was recovering, another area was really being afflicted. And, everything that we sort of intuitively knew is that you don't go and try and sell to somebody who's in their peak pandemic place. So it's been a real learning experience about, you know, trying to, you know, both be sensitive and also, you know, remain active with selling. But we have an internal sales team. We've got some CSRs and project managers in-house, about 3 of those. And then we've got about 4 people, you know, who are more of our road warriors, sort of selling our product. And then obviously we have our website and are always working on our inbound stream, which is certainly growing all the time. You know, everyone out there, I hope you all have a website, because it's truly the most accretive source for new leads for us, are people looking for our unique offering. You know, when you're unique, when you are the needle in the haystack, the best thing you can do dollar for dollar is make yourself more easy to find. So.
And before you go into another question, I just want to make an announcement that RIMA is sponsoring the virtual B2B coming up October 6th. And that's actually going to be our kickoff for Manufacturing Week. And it's going to be a big virtual program that our Tara from our event planner has put together. So it's kind of exciting. And that's going to start like at 8 o'clock in the morning. And every hour, we're going to have a breakout session. We'll have Department of Labor training. We'll have commerce. We have some energy companies. We have some banks. We have, you know, it's just a diverse to help manufacturers reach out and talk. We're just trying to get people back to thinking about business. And it's time that we start interacting again. And we're trying to do it in a virtual way. And I was impressed by this program that Tara found to do this with. So we're hoping that a lot of people will join us and interact. I know that many of our manufacturers are going to be participating, but it's a nice way to interact. And you're going to be able to have a breakout session with somebody. So, and if you were to go in, you could make an appointment to go and talk to Mark and just you guys alone. So it's very unique and interesting. So I'd urge everyone to register for this. And the other thing I'd like to just say is, I urge everyone to get out to the Museum Work and Culture. I think one of the nicest places I've ever attended and visited. And I'm hoping next year maybe we can do our function for manufacturing kickoff with you guys again. Because the booze was flowing pretty good. And if I remember, it was downstairs and upstairs.
That's right. So I have one other quick question. Any of you are able to use recycled material in your products? Yeah, that's good. So Christine, you want to just talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So we most of what we're working with is brass, but we also use sterling silver, copper, and stainless steel. But basically all of our brass is recycled metal. And of course we recycle all of our scrap. And that's actually something, when we started working with Alex and Ani, that was a really big deal to them to be able to market their bracelets as recycled metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Anyone else has any questions for each other or? Pretty much all set. Okay. I see that we have Morgan Greff with us, who is the director of the Rhode Island Historical Society. She joined in a few minutes after we had done the introduction, so I didn't want to interrupt, but I'm glad Morgan could be with us. So I guess this concludes our program. So as Dave mentioned, hopefully we can be back at the Museum of Work and Culture next year in person. But in the meantime, we are reopened 3 days a week. So we follow all the rules, and it's a very safe place and an interesting place to visit. So we are there. Now it's Tuesday, starting this week, new hours. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 10 to 4. And you have to make reservations to go on our website ahead of time and make reservations for a visit. So I hope to see you.
And thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck.
Thank you
very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.